Okay, I'm gonna go into the last 3 songs of the Futurist, and Details is, I guess you can categorize it as like kind of a slow jazz piece, but it's like very organic. There's like a lot of organic like parts to this album, but this it's like, it feels like it's just a vocal and piano with maybe some strings like thrown into it. And for a while I guess I was kind of a lame move on my part. I didn't look up the words for a while, but there were like a bunch I really didn't quite understand. Like, I don't know, like I kind of might rip into him for like lyrics that don't make sense, but his vocal delivery kind of gets in the way in some parts also. And anyway, with this song, it paints a pretty interesting picture. I guess he talks about like maybe it was inspired by his new relationship with Susan, and just getting into relationships in general. He didn't want to go into his past too much. He kind of maybe wanted to hide from it maybe a little bit. But it starts where he's like looking at an oil painting, and he talks about like rendezvous and like going out dancing and stuff like that. That's kind of what I got from some of the lyrics, but at the end of it, he's kind of like, I guess, hiding from his past, trying to like not let it determine his future. For the moment, he says he'll spare the details about all the times that he did wrong, all the times he lied, etc., etc. But there's like something powerful about it in a very subtle way. I really can't explain it. I guess he would have to like really hear it to like really get a grasp on it. But then after that track 9 on the album is Hannah, which is supposed to be like an allusion to Wonder Boys, but I didn't really get so much of that. Like I finally saw the movie at some point, and afterwards I got to thinking, well, the song didn't make too much sense to me to begin with, some of the elements in it. And then after seeing the movie, I'm thinking, okay, this really didn't explain anything, what's going on with this. I mean, Hannah was a character played by Katie Holmes, who was a student that was like renting a room from the professor, played by Michael Douglas. And maybe there was like maybe a little something to that relationship, but they really didn't build on it too much. And it was a really good movie, but I think Robert's like not necessarily one of the greatest parts of it. I mean, Terry Crabtree's not really a great person by any means. I mean, he's kind of an opportunist. He's Michael Douglas's agent, and he's like asking him about his second book. Like, the first book was such a hit, and he's like waiting for his cut of the sequel, or like something that's been it's been in production for like 10 years and such. And meanwhile, he's got this other side where I guess he's got like a promiscuous thing going on, but it's not so much that Terry Crabtree was gay, but he just had very strange tastes in like his relationships. Like, we first meet him and he's with a guy that's dressed as a woman, and the guy like leaves and kind of says to Michael Douglas, I don't know what your friend is looking to get out of this. He kind of suggests that he's got like some strange tastes when it comes to like, you know, like his personal business and stuff. And then the rest of it, he's kind of develops a relationship with Tommy McGuire, but it's kind of odd, like the way he goes about it. Like he's hitting on him, trying to like get him into this relationship, and I guess they do kind of get into something, and eventually he becomes an agent for a story that Tommy McGuire's character wrote. But I guess the first part of the song kind of explains the situation where Hannah's living with the professor and such, but after that there's a bridge with like some odd lyrics that thrown together. I was talking about like there's like a guy that's like in a buckskin, and we're rooting for a suicide, like just weird stuff thrown together, and none of it really makes any sense. I mean, the only way I'd be able to figure it out, I guess, is to get it from the source, like, Robert, help me out here, like, what are you going on about, that sort of thing. Not that that's on the top of my list of priorities when it comes to like things I would ask about if I was lucky enough. to like get that opportunity. But things quiet down a little bit with like that song like tailing off, and then a lot of people would recognize the final song, which is a cover. After doing Chaplin, it was kind of a given, I guess, that he would cover Smile. And it's a pretty good performance. It's very like subdued. I mean, the song in general, I guess, is anyway. And it's like mostly a vocal and with like little piano strokes that come in like every couple seconds, and then we get like a little pairing between that and like a little bass, a stand-up bass during like an instrumental break, and then we get like the final part, which is like repeating like maybe the last verse or quatrain or something of the song in general. There was one time that kind of sticks out in my mind, like usually when I listen to the album, I do it like before with my iPod, like just before I settle down for bed and stuff. And that's usually where what I do with like records, like with Prince's records. I would do that because I wouldn't be able to like really get the full amount of it unless I was like by myself in like a room and stuff like that. It's kind of weird, but that's kind of the way I did things. But the first time I played this, no, the only time I played it for anyone else, my mom and I were listening to it in the car, and we got to this song, and she's like, "Oh, I love this song." Like of course, a bunch of people had heard it before, but it kind of snuck up on me. Like I really don't get too emotional about the record in general, except for like maybe a few instances. But the last part of the song, it just welled up inside me. I couldn't really explain it. There was something maybe profound and sincere about it that just, I don't know, it got to me. And maybe it's just the melancholy vibe of the song in general. And then, like usually when it gets to this part, I'm thinking, oh shoot, the album's over. Like it's like roughly 40-45 minutes, but it goes by pretty quickly. And every now and then, I mean, there is kind of a sadness that lingers. Like once everything quiets down, like I linger until like the last word, the last whatever, how the album ends. But yeah, it's kind of when an album ends, it kind of feels like a friend's gone away, but you can always like play it again another time, and it's like things haven't changed. Usually I will like listen to music and try to like see myself in it, but with the Futurist, I kind of wanted to see it from Robert's perspective, kind of, I guess, look at things from his point of view and maybe like learn a bit more about him. But yeah, I totally recommend it. This is the cover. Like look it up on Amazon.com. I mean, look up like different clips of the songs on YouTube, and definitely check out like a couple interviews, like the Jonathan Ross interview was like the best performance. I'd recommend that for sure. But yeah, this will probably be my last one for a while, and maybe I'll do a couple on his movies. I'll probably cover at least 3 of them. I'm sure they'll be somewhere among my top 100 movies, and I'll supplement my blog entries on them with the video footage. So yeah, I guess that's it. And I hope you stayed around for the whole thing, and yep, goodbye.